Llama 4 has just been released, brand new update, and it looks absolutely insane. You can see it just came out a few hours ago here, and there's 3 different models here. So you've got Llama 4 Behemoth, Llama 4 Maverick, and Llama 4 Scout. So we're going to be testing them out today, and I'll be showing you what the differences are, how they work, etc. One of the biggest differences right here is that Llama 4 actually has a 10 million token limit. It is absolutely insane. You can see a leading context window of 10 million. Can't wait to try this out. It's available on llama.com and Hugging Face. You can also check this out on, for example, Grok. I'll be covering onto exactly how to get access to that later today in this video. You can see some of the key benchmarks here. So this is Llama 4 Maverick, and you can see compared to Gemini 2.0 Flash, DeepSeek 3.1, and GPT-4o. So those are the comparative models right there, and it's absolutely smashing it on pretty much every single benchmark, as you can see right here. Bear in mind, DeepSeek 3.1 is the latest update that just came out about a week ago or so. All right, and then you can see the needle and haystack test right here. So this is Maverick versus Scout. We've also got NNL, and we have the benchmarks here versus other smaller models. So Llama 4 Scout, you can see here the benchmarks in the left on blue. And then if we compare this versus Gemma 3, which is Google's latest light model, Mistral 3.1, which is another light model, in Gemini 2.0 Flash, and MMU is absolutely destroying it, right? Llama 4 is absolutely flying. All right. So Llama 4 Scout is what you would try and host locally because it's a smaller model, but it still has a lot of power. Right? And then you've got Llama 4 Behemoth. Llama 4 Behemoth is supposedly outperforming Claude 3.7 Sonnet, Gemini 2.0 Pro, and GPT 4.5. Bear in mind, this is a new model from Meta. All right, so Mark Zuckerberg is behind the Llama 4 model, and it's absolutely flying. One of the things I've always been impressed by with Llama is its ability to just be so fast. It's just redonkulous. All right, but let's come on to that in a second. So if you want to get access to Llama, you can go onto llama.com, and then there's a download section here, and you can request access directly there. Also, you can get access to Hugging Face, as you can see right here, and we can also go to Grok, GROQ.com, and then from here we can start using it as well. Right, so there's a dev console section, which we'll come on to in a second, and then also we can switch between the models over here, and also we have Grok Cloud. If we go to the dashboard, inside the playground, we have access to Llama 4, right? So if you want to get access to Llama 4, you can go inside here. Let's also check Open Router. So we're just going to go inside Open Router, and you can see that Llama Maverick and Scout are available, and these are free APIs that you can play with, right? So you can plug these into your favorite apps. You can see this is very popular inside RuCode and also Klein and all these other models, and it's completely free, all right? So it is comparative to other models. For example, if we have a look at the Maverick benchmarks here, you can see how it's outperforming, for example, Gemini 2.0 Flash, DeepSeek 3.1, and GPT-4o. The difference here, of course, is that GPT-4o is a paid model, whereas you can use Maverick for free from OpenRouter. And I'll show you exactly how to get access to that and how it performs in a minute, all right? So we've got 2 different options here. We can go into Grok inside the dashboard here, or we can go inside OpenRouter. And if you go inside OpenRouter, you can grab an API key, or you can just use it directly inside the chat here. You see how it says Llama Maverick free? So we can test it out. And for example, if we plug in some tests, let me grab some examples here. Let's test it out for creating content first of all. All right, so we're going to plug this into Llama 4. We can also enable web search if we want to link it directly to a web search. And then the prompt that I'm going to test first of all is just for creating content. All right, so we're going to say create an SEO optimized article for this. Keyword equals content outline. We're going to delete. For content creation, do this, include some information about me, who I am, etc. And then we'll hit enter and we'll see how that performs. Right, so we're running Llama Maverick 4. And also what we can do in the background is also run this inside Llama Scout. All right, so Scout is the lightweight model. We can go inside the chat here. we can plug this in. Again, it is free to use, and we'll use exactly the same keyword to create the content. So got the responses right there. And if we go and take that content and then plug it into HTML preview, so we'll plug that in on liveweave.com. We have the content right there. Okay, so you can use it for free. Honestly, that content does not look good at all. I'll be 100% honest with you based on that prompt. But let's check now. We've got Scout as well. So this is the content from Scout. Let's plug that in. I actually think the content from Scout looks better than Maverick, to be honest. See what we got here. And that content is coming out not bad at all. It's about 719 words. Blast it out super fast. We're good to go on that. So I actually think for content creation, it's not that great, but we'll test it out on some other stuff in a second too. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do a reasoning challenge on this, right? So we're going to say there's a tree on the other side of the river. How can I pick an apple? We'll run that through Maverick and also through Scout. We'll see how it performs for reasoning. Now, what we're looking for here is basically, number one, can it reason things? Number two, can it find solutions, right? Does it understand that during winter, there's typically no apple trees or there's no apples on the tree, right? And you can see here that actually comes back to us straight away with the answer. I also like the fact that it is very straight to the point. All right, so it's like if you're looking for a creative solution or a story, happy to play along, etc. But in the real world, it's not possible to pick an apple from a tree on the other side of the river in winter. Number one, because the tree is likely bare, and number two, the river is a barrier. All right, and let's check out Llama Scout. So if we just start a new chat here, we'll see how it performs. And there we go. Scout is actually giving us a much better response. I'm just going to start a new chat inside OpenRouter, and we'll see if without the context of creating SEO content before, it's going to give us a better answer. And yeah, you actually get better answers if you just start a new response right there. And Scout seems to be a lot more wordier when it's doing responses, right? So if you compare the answer from Scout, this is a lot longer, a lot more in depth, etc. Thinks things through a bit better. Whereas, for example, Maverick, it gives us like very, very short responses, like you can see right there. All right, let's go inside the playground as well, so we can use Llama 4 Scout over here. And we'll hit submit. Look how fast that is. That is ridiculous, isn't it? That was unbelievably fast. Wow. So actually, if you want really speedy results, I would recommend using Llama 4 directly inside Grok. It seems to be a lot faster. Let me just show you an example of what I mean right here. So if we pull up Grok inside the cloud versus OpenRouter. All right, and we'll start a new chat here. We'll plug that in and compare it versus Grok. So we've got Grok over here, and we have OpenRouter over here, right? And we're just going to make sure we have Scout selected. So let me remove that. And let me change this to Scout. All right, so we have Scout and Scout. These are both Llama 4 models. And we're going to go inside here and say, write a 2,000-word article about SEO. We'll give OpenRouter the head start. And it's writing out. But look at that. Look at the speed. Grok has already come back to us whilst OpenRouter is still writing out, right? That is absolutely insane. I've never seen an AI respond that quickly. Crazy stuff. It looks like you can also edit the response as well if you want to. But the fact that Grok is just so fast is absolutely amazing. All right. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to use this directly inside of a tool. So if you want to, for example, use Visual Studio Code, this is free to download. You can get it at code.visualstudio.com. And then you can switch between Klein and also RuCode. All right, these are my two favorite extensions for coding. Honestly, I prefer RuCode in general, but you can test them both out right there. If we go to the extension section and you want to install client or RuCode, just type in client or type in RuCode, hit install, boom shakalaka, you live in the dream. All right, so you can see right there. So if we go over to RuCode, and then we're going to go to settings, and then we can go into OpenRouter, and let's just check, is Llama 4 available? So yeah, you can see Llama 4 free and paid, right? So those are two versions. That's going to be the paid model. That's going to be the free version. Same for Scout. Scout and free. Again, Maverick is not available to test out yet. And then let's just have a look. Can we use Grok inside RuCode? Can't see it available in the drop down right there. Let's just check Klein as well. So XAI or Llama, but Grok is not in the drop down right there, right? So if you want to use, for example, Llama 4 inside client or RuCode, just select OpenRouter, and then you can switch between Scout and Maverick. All right, so let's go with Scout just for an example. Again, Scout is the lightweight model. All right, and then we're going to say, okay, create a self-playing snake game just as a little test here, and we'll see how that performs. We'll see using boomerang mode. If you've never set that up, check it out inside the AI Profit Boardroom for the full instructions on that. That has literally run out of code, of API requests straight away, which is not great. All right. So why are we still on? Let's just switch this over. Make sure we got Scout selected. Hit save, hit done. We'll try again on that. X off there. There we go. All right, seems to be working now. It's doing its magic. Just be careful of that. Make sure you selected the right API and everything. We'll allow that. Now it's going to create a little subtask. It's pretty fast, to be fair. And it's planning out the code. We'll see what we get back in a second, all right? In the meantime, whilst we're waiting for that, what we can actually do is go inside Grok, inside the playground here. Make sure you got whatever response you want to use. I'm going to just go with Scout for now. We're going to say, okay, create a 3JS runner game. I'm actually going to grab one of the prompts from the AI Profit Boardroom, all right? And I'm going to say, make me a captivating, endless runner game. Key instructions on the screen. P5JS scene, no HTML. I like pixelated dinosaurs and interesting backgrounds. All right. And then we're going to plug that inside here. We'll hit submit. And we'll see if it can do its magic. All right. The reason that I want to try that inside Grok is it's just going to be a lot faster to test. I mean, you can see how quickly it just came back with the answer. So we'll grab the JS here and just see if it can actually do its magic. All right. So let's plug that in. We'll hit play. And that does not work. Let's just see if we need to delete that. Yeah, it's not working now, is it? Well, it's nowhere near as good as Gemini 2.5 Pro. I'll tell you that for free. All right. So we're going to keep going now. It's creating the JS, etc. Wait for that to load. So we've got the response on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side, we've got the code. Now it's creating the CSS. In the meantime, whilst that's coding out, let me show you some other stuff that people are creating with this. So you can see AI and Meta announced today is the start of a new era of natively multimodal innovation. Today we're introducing the first Llama 4 models, Scout Maverick. 10 million tokens on Scout, which is absolutely insane for context windows. Looks like you can actually preview, so you can get an early preview of Llama 4 Bearmoth as well, if you want to get access to it. What's pretty crazy here is that Meta's Llama 4 Maverick is hitting #2 overall, becoming the 4th organization to break 1400 plus on Arena. All right, so it's the #1 open model, surpassing DeepSeek. It's tied #1 in hard prompts and coding, and you can see the leaderboard right there. All right, so if we go over to LM Arena, you can also get access to it over here. And then if we go to the leaderboard, you can see Llama Maverick ranking #2. All right, only surpassed by, like I said before, Gemini 2.5 Pro, which I would say is probably the best AI model out there right now as well. All right, but you can see here how it's, for example, outperforming ChatGPT 4.0, Grok 3 preview, 4.5 preview, 2.0 flash thinking. Like, it's outperforming all the big boys, right? All the big models. DeepSeek R1, Gemma 3, etc. is nowhere to be seen versus this. So pretty crazy stuff. If you also want to test it inside Arena, you can actually do a side-by-side comparison, right? So you can, for example, use ChatGPT 4.0, and then if we type in Llama, we can select Llama 4 Maverick over here, and we can compare them side by side, all right? So if we give them a test prompt, we can take this one, for example, and we'll go back to LM Arena and plug in the prompts right there, all right? And then you can see how they perform side by side. Just inside the API settings here as well, make sure if you want to use this for free, make sure that you select Scout free, okay? So make sure you select that one, not the normal Scout. If you select the normal Scout, obviously it's going to charge you, right? So make sure you go with the free one. And then you can see the output right there, which is not great, to be honest with you. Look at that. It's just not working at all. So it's okay. I'm going to test it later versus other models. I'm just going to see as well how it performed here. So it seems to have cut off. Let's grab that HTML and we'll copy that and test it on LiveWeave. See what we got back. Honestly, is that anywhere near the same level as Claude 3.7 Sonnet? No, right? That's the output that we got back from LM Arena, from Llama 4 Maverick versus ChatGPT 4.0. Let's see what 4.40 did as well. So we're going to grab that So this is the response from Llama 4. We'll plug in the 4.0 response. I mean, that's 100 times better, isn't it? With the same prompt. So I'm not sure what people are seeing in Llama Maverick. From what I've seen so far, unless it's just being rinsed on the server, or it's just I'm using it the wrong way, it doesn't seem to be anywhere near as good as other models. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to my community that helps you save time and make more money with AI, feel free to get that link in the comments description. Prices are going up this month, so make sure you sign up now before you miss out. This also comes with all my best automations, agents, workflows, etc. You can also get a crash course on AI along with all my best SOPs. And along with that, we've got an amazing community of people you can ask questions to. So for example, we have 693 members. You can post in the community. Everyone's focused on the same goal, which is making money and saving time with AI. Feel free to post any questions you have. And also this comes with weekly Q&As, right? So if you want to jump on live calls, get your questions answered, feel free to jump on the weekly Q&A calls and ask any questions you have. And additionally, you can watch back the call recordings like you can see right here. Additionally, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visits this month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot, feel free to get that on this free link building acceleration session. You'll get a free SEO domination plan. So that's a custom tailored game plan to make you more money and save time with SEO to get more customers. And you can also ask any questions you have live on that call one-to-one with one of our experts. So feel free to get that link in the comments description and appreciate you watching. Did you see ChatGPT got really fast on the web? Not tested out yet. Silky Slide says test it against Gemini 2.5. We'll come on to that in a second. XAI's Grok. Well, I think that's even faster than Mistral's chat. Yeah, I would agree. I think it is way, way faster. To be honest with this, I still think if there's any AI better, like Gemini 2.5 Pro, I prefer Claude for coding and maths. It's free. Yes, it is free. I've shown you how to get it for free. So Llama 4 has just been announced, and according to LM Arena, it is beating ChatGPT 4.0, Grok, DeepSeek R1, and Gemini 2.0, along with O1, Gemma 3, Quen, and pretty much every other model apart from Gemini 2.5 Pro. So what we're going to be doing today is testing it against these different models. Now, if you're not sure, okay, what is Llama for Maverick? What does it do, etc. So it's got a 10 million token context. It is free to use, so you can actually get a free API directly from OpenRouter, or you can use it directly inside LM Arena for free as well. And basically, Llama 4 have just released 4 different series. All right, so Meta is behind this, Mark Zuckerberg, and they've released three different models, which are Llama for Scout, Llama for Maverick, and a preview version of Llama for Behemoth, right? Which is still in training. Okay, so if you're wondering, okay, what are the differences between these models? You can see some examples here. So multimodality, mixture of experts, MOE architecture, long context support. So even Llama 4 Scout, which is a lightweight model, now supports a context window of up to 10 million tokens, which is pretty insane because the last one, the Llama 3 update, actually had 128 tokens. All right, and you can see the comparisons right here in terms of parameters, total parameters, etc. And also, this is completely free to use on OpenRouter. All right. So we're going to get into straight testing these different models. If you want to see the leaderboard on LM Arena, you can actually go onto lmarena.ai, and then you can see the models right here. And you can see that Llama Maverick 4 is outperforming ChatGPT 4.0, Grok 3, Grok 4.5 Preview, Gemini 2.0, DeepSeek, and DeepSeek R1, right? So what we're going to do is side by side, we're going to test these different models. So what we'll do is we'll put Llama 4 over on the left-hand side. So you can see Llama 4 there. And then we can compare this to some of the best models out there. See, okay, how good is it actually, all right? So first thing that we're going to test is how does it perform versus Claude 3.7 Sonnet. And we'll use this prompt, which is create an AI-powered audit tool for Goldie agency that analyzes a business's operations and suggests automation opportunities in HTML, right? Users must enter their details, etc., right, in HTML format. So now what we're going to do is hit enter, and we'll see how it's performed side by side. So you can see here that Claude 3.7 Sonnet gets straight into coding it, whereas Llama 4 has a little think about how it's going to work first and then starts coding this out. Does seem like Claude 3.7 Sonnet is a lot faster, but we'll test these out and see how they perform in a second. And this is coding the CSS separately, all right? So Claude 3.7 Sonnet is creating everything in one single HTML file, whereas, for example, Llama 4 is created a separate CSS and HTML. So let's see how they perform. We're going to plug in a new LiveWeave mode right here, and we'll plug in the HTML from Llama 4 on the left-hand side, and then we'll grab the CSS as well. So you got the style CSS here. Plug that in there. And then we have the JS over here. All right. So if we have a look at the output, the form is not bad side by side. If we actually have a look, it's pretty bland in terms of the design and stuff like that. Let's see how Claude 3.7 Sonnet forms versus this. So we've got the output from Claude 3.7 Sonnet over here. That's coded one-shot HTML. We'll plug that in. See how it performs. And there's not even a button to use it. All right, so if we compare side by side, which one has performed the best here? I would take Llama 4's output simply because the form actually works, right? It's actually got to analyze my business section here. You can, for example, select between the industry, put your business name, number of employees, etc. Whereas, for example, the design is slightly nicer, but you can see here there's actually like no button to get started right there. Honestly, I'm not impressed with either inputs, but I would say Llama 4 actually wins on that particular model. Right. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to test reasoning example. So I'm going to take this challenge right here and say there's a tree on the other side of a river in winter. How can I pick an apple? We'll plug that into the models right here. And this time we're going to select Grok. All right, so we have Grok 3 preview over here versus Llama 4. And we'll see which one performs the best. If we actually have a look, I mean, the output from Llama 4 is a lot nicer formatted. It's easier to read, etc. They both give quite good solutions side by side, but we'll wait for them to reply and then see what we get here. So I actually prefer the output from Llama 4 versus Grok 3 preview. So if you look at Grok 3 preview, it's like long walls of text. It's not very nicely formatted. And additionally, side by side here, you can see that this finds the constraint straight away. All right, so the tree is on the other side. It's winter, so the tree probably won't have any apples. And we're questioning the assumptions here. So it's actually figuring out, okay, there's a lot of problems with this question. And then it comes back with some ideas in the framework, all right? So I would say the answer from Llama 4 Maverick is much better than Grok 3 side by side, simply because it's nicer formatted, it focuses on more solutions, and it identifies the problem straight away, so the constraints of the problem, right? Next up, what we're going to try and do here is create a self-playing snake game classic using HTML. We'll compare this side by side versus ChatGPT. In fact, no, we'll use DeepSeek R1 for this, all right? So we'll compare this side by side versus DeepSeek R1. So we've got Llama 4 Maverick over here versus DeepSeek R1. And we're going to say create a self-playing snake game using HTML with simple GUI. And I'm just going to say make it one single HTML file. And we'll see what we get back here. They're thinking about it. Looks like it might be broken here. Let's give it another go. It's a false start, my friends. We're just going to refresh the page there and try again. And LM Arena's totally broken on us. So what we're going to do is go over to Open Router instead. We'll start a new room here. I'm going to edit this and we'll add two different models here. So I'm going to test Llama Maverick. And we'll test that side by side versus DeepSeek R1. And we'll use the same prompt here and see what we get back. So one thing to note here is like when you're testing them out, it looks like, you know, Llama 4 is more of a base model. So it doesn't really have that like thinking capability. Whereas, for example, if you look at DeepSeek R1, it's going to reason first before it builds out the tool, which I think is much better for code. But let's see what we get back in a second. We've already got the output back from Llama 4 Maverick over here. So we'll copy that and we'll plug it into the HTML, see what we get back. Refresh the page. And that is no bueno. I'll tell you that for free. All right, so that's because it's not created one HTML file like we asked it to. It's created three different ones. All right. So we're just going to refresh the page here. And we'll take the code. So, I mean, it didn't listen to my instructions, which is like just create one single HTML. But we'll grab the CSS and test this out anyway. See if this actually works. And then we have the JS over here. So let's plug that into LiveWeave. See what we get back. I mean, that is fast, isn't it? That is one of the fastest snake games I've ever seen in my life. It's incredible. To be fair, it works perfectly, so I can't complain there. All right, let's see what we got back from DeepSeek R1. So it's created a one single HTML file, which I like. That's what we prefer. And then we'll grab this and we'll plug it into something like LiveWeave again. Test this out side by side, all right? And DeepSeek R1 has totally failed on that. Let's test this out now, side by side, all right? Look at that, it keeps failing. I think I prefer, I mean, Grok, look at that, that's still going. It's playing itself. It's having a great time. If we have a look at DeepSeek R1, it's not bad with the buttons here, but it kept breaking before, if you saw that. So you see here how it keeps breaking? I'm actually going to go with, I would say the Llama 4 beats DeepSeek R1 there. It's created a better output, it's faster. It doesn't have the UI buttons, but if it actually works and just carries on playing itself, then that's much better for me. I'm going to take that output any day of the week. So you can see here, for example, it just stopped and it's just stopped and not working at all. All right. It's not even counted the score as well. So you see here how it says score 0 when it should be 6 or 4 at least. There we go. All right. Ella Marino actually finally came back to us, which is interesting too. So last thing that we're going to test now is we're going to test creating 3JS games. So we'll grab a prompt from the AI Profit Boardroom. We're going to say, make me captivate an endless runner game, key instructions on screen, use p5.js, no HTML, pixelated dinosaur, and interesting backgrounds. And what we're going to do for this is we're going to use Gemini versus Llama Maverick 4, right? So if we go to Llama Maverick 4, we'll use the paid version just to make sure it actually works. Let's plug that in. And then we'll do the same on 2.5 Pro. But we'll do that inside AI Studio. And then if we go to create prompt, 2.5 Pro over here, we'll run the same prompt through both of these, all right? So let's see, I mean, Llama 4 has come back to us with the JavaScript. Let's check that out. Seems to be remarkably fast, but we'll see how that performs. This is creating the, look at that. It's not working, my friend. I'm really not impressed with Llama 4. It totally broke. It seems to be slightly drunk, and it's saying it's game over with a final score that keeps going up even after the game is finished. All right, so I would say by default, OpenRouter has totally failed here. Let's see what we get back from Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is still having a little cheeky think about it, building it out, and then it should come back to us with an answer in a sec. We'll wait for that to load. Definitely takes a lot longer than Llama 4 Maverick, but if the outputs are better, it's worth the wait, right? You can't rush greatness, especially when it comes to pixelated dinosaur games. So let's grab the P5JS here. And if you want to preview this stuff, just go to editor.p5js.org, plug that in, we'll hit play, and boom. Yeah, I mean, it's just, the quality is just 10 times better. Much better, isn't it? You actually get an output back from Gemini. It's much better, actually works, etc. It's in a league of its own, Gemini, and Gemini is free as well. So I'm going to stick to Gemini and Claude 3.7 Sonnet, honestly, from what I've seen today. But it is exciting to see a model with a 10 million token limit, all right? Again, I don't know how it's risen to the top of the leaderboard so fast, but I always take these things with a little pinch of salt. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get a community focused on making more money and saving time with AI, feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Prices are going up this month, so make sure you lock in your price now before you miss out. And additionally, this focuses on all my best automations, workflows, templates, AI agents. It's got a crash course and all my best SOPs for using AI. Top of that, it has a community of 694 members. So if you have any questions, you can post inside the community, ask us any questions you have. And additionally, if you go inside the calendar here, there are weekly Q&A calls where you can jump on those calls, ask any questions you have, get live help. And additionally, if you want to watch back the call recordings, you can watch them back right here, right? So you can click on here, watch back the weekly Q&A call recordings. If you miss anything, then you can watch them back right there, right? Link in the comments description. And prices are going up, like I said, this month, so make sure you sign up now before you miss out. And if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how to get more leads, more customers, more sales, and make more money from your website with SEO, feel free to get that link in the comments description. We'll give you a custom tailored game plan, ask any questions you have live on the call, and you'll learn how to 10x SEO traffic based on what's working for us and our happy clients, like you can see right here, right? Feel free to get that link in the comments description. Silky says snake grows in R1. Nicholas says good morning from Manchester. Good to see you here. And Theo says, I love this live testing you are conducting. Amazing stuff. Please keep doing it. Is there any chance you post a video about insane in the title? This video itself doesn't say insane. If you read, the title is New Llama 4 AI Update 3. How's the testing? I'm not going to switch over to Llama 4 anytime soon. I'll tell you that for free. Shivam says, bro, can I get your autograph? Jokes. And then Silky Slide says, does it really have 10 million? Apparently it does. All right. So we're going to do one more take on a new AI in a sec. Hardest working man on YouTube. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, Nicholas. Keep delivering the knowledge. Always learning from you. San Diego, California. Thank you, sir. So today we're going to be looking at a new stealth model, very mysterious, called Quasar Alpha, and nobody is sure what it is, but some people are saying it's the new Gemini 3.0 Pro. Other people are saying this is a new GPT-5. We'll be testing it out today. So you can actually test this model from OpenRouter inside openrouter.ai. Let me pull this up for you and we'll show you exactly how to get access to it. All right, and you can see it's actually right at the top here, trending directly on OpenRouter. So if you go to openrouter.ai and then you go to Quasar Alpha, this is a cloaked model. Nobody is sure what it is, all right? Now, some people are speculating it is, for example, GPT-5 or Gemini 3.0. We're going to go inside the chat here and we'll compare it as well. So we can actually do a comparison versus other models. You can see it's got a 1 million token context length, which is absolutely insane, and it's completely free to use right now. Now, from my test so far, it is very, very fast to use, and you can also code with it directly inside of root code and client. It is absolutely insane what you can do with this. All right, so for example, we can actually do some tests here. So let's say, for example, we wanted to build a self-playing snake game. All right, we'll say build a self-playing snake game inside the chat here. And in a sec, you'll see it respond. Again, this is completely free to use, and it's now creating the code directly. We can also say, okay, create that in HTML. And it will just go off and do its magic, all right? The other thing you can do here is you can go inside OpenRouter, go to your keys, create an API key, and then you can start using this inside other models, all right? So for example, if we go inside Visual Studio Code here, then we're going to go to settings, then we're going to select OpenRouter, and we'll switch from Llama 4 over to, for example, Quasar, all right? So OpenRouter / Quasar Alpha. We'll hit save, hit done, and then we can do its magic, all right? Now, this is a model that we built, a self-playing snake game we built with the latest release from Llama 4. And you can see it is pretty trash, all right? It doesn't work at all. Now, if we try the same thing with, for example, Quasar Alpha, so we're going to say create a self-playing snake game. And I'm just going to switch to normal code mode here, just to make it easier and faster. It's going to start coding with that free API key, all right? Super simple and easy to use. Now, if we go back to OpenRouter, we've got the response in HTML over here, as you can see. So we can copy that, and then we'll test it out on live weave. And that is working perfectly. Look at that. Boom. Even a nice little UI. So you can use it directly inside the chat here, super fast. And you can also use it inside Visual Studio Code. I would recommend using it in combination with something like RuCode for coding, and then you can build out free websites and that sort of thing. But it does seem super powerful. I mean, you've seen the output here of Quasar Alpha versus the latest model from Llama 4 that literally just came out a few hours ago. And this is much, much better, all right? So pretty simple and easy to use. I'm just going to go back here, make sure that we are using Quasar Alpha. Seems to be some sort of error where sometimes, like if you hit save, it doesn't work, right? So we'll switch that back now. And we can also, for example, like build websites. So if I say, okay, build a modern, sleek landing page for my SEO agency, we can build out websites for free as well using Quasar Alpha, all right? So you can see here the API cost is 0, and it will just start doing its magic and building stuff out. Now, if we actually go inside the chat models here and we say, okay, what model are you? It says, I'm based on OpenAI's GPT-4 architecture, which makes it everyone think like this must be a new model from OpenAI, right? So we'll say, okay, what's the name of your model? Are you GPT-5? And it says, no, I'm based on GPT-4, not GPT-5. It has knowledge up to October 2023. So it's still part of the GPT-4 family, okay? So if you see any speculation saying it's GPT-5, at least you know now, right? Now, if we go onto YouTube here, a lot of people are raving about this model, right? So you can see here, for example, some people saying how good it is, other people saying this is like a cloaked new GPT-5, etc. Either way, it is pretty powerful and it's been good so far. So let's see what it comes back with on RuCode here when it comes to coding this website out. I also did some deep research on Quasar Alpha, and it was saying it's a mysterious large language model recently released by OpenRouter, sparking speculation about its origins and capabilities. Key features: 1 million token context window. Bear in mind, Llama 4 apparently has a 10 million context window. So even though this is large, it's not the largest stealth release. So it's released quietly as a stealth model for free and performance. So it's showing really strong benchmarks like you see right here. You can actually see a couple of the benchmarks in terms of how it's performing. This is an awesome article by Julian. And you can see how it's performing on the Ada Polyglot coding benchmark. So it's competitive with O3 Mini Medium, DeepSeek version 3, and Sonnet 3.6. It's also very, very fast. So Quasar Alpha is here, and it's pretty much holding its own against Claude, O3 Mini, and DeepSeek, but it's being outperformed by a long way versus Gemini 2.5 Pro, which honestly I think is by far the best model that I've seen so far. Also, other people are saying there's some technical clues here. So the use of chat CMPL prefix in API responses and a tool called ID format, similar to OpenAI's, supports that it's OpenAI as well, right? So it must be a model by OpenAI because inside the chat here, it's saying it's based on OpenAI's GPT-4 architecture. And then also inside the prefix, it's also being used there as well. So let's come back to Visual Studio Code now, see how it performs. Let's test it out for writing as well. So I'm just going to go inside my list of tests, grab that, and we'll see how it performs for creating content. What I'm also going to see is does the web search method work, all right? So even though it's only updated to October 2023, if it works with web search, then that's an easy way to like just make the model much more powerful. We're also going to do this on a new room simply because we don't want to ruin the context before. And you can see it's coding that out right here. And now we have the page ready to go, right? So it's created that landing page based on SEO agency. It's not as good as other models I've seen, for example, like 3.7 Sonnet, but it's not bad for a free API, right? And you can easily, for example, automate and build and code out tools, apps, games, etc. inside Visual Studio Code. Completely free API. You could also use this, for example, inside NA10, I believe, as well. So let's test it out. We'll go over to NA10. See if this works. So if you want to build out your own AI agents, we'll see if we can connect this to Quasar Alpha. So what we're going to do is select Open Router. We'll grab a new API key. And then we'll plug that in here. Perfect. All right. Can we get Quasar Alpha here? Yeah, we can. All right. So you can actually build AI agents for free using Quasar Alpha inside NA10. To use NA10 for free, all you need to do is host this locally. And then to use Open Router with Quasar Alpha, then all you need to do is just go to your AI agent over here, plug that information right here, and then you can use some credentials directly. All right, so you can see open router Quasar Alpha. And then if we hit save on that, open up the chat and say, are you working? We're just going to make sure the AI agent has the system message right here. Try that again. See if that works. If not, what you can also do, if that's just playing up or something like that, then you can also switch to another different model here. So let's switch to Quen 32B instead. And that, why is it? And there we go. Boom. All right. So when a chat message is received using the AI agent, and then inside Open Router, select your credentials and add Quasar Alpha, and you are good to go. As you can see right here, it worked perfectly. All right. I think the first time it didn't work because I didn't set up. That was one of my team that managed the AI agent. But if you're just bear in mind, if your team sets up other AI agents inside N10, it doesn't seem to work when you plug in your open router details. But you can see that works perfectly now, right here. We've got an AI agent created in a couple of minutes. And then if you want to edit what it does, etc., you can just insert the system message right there. But basically, between using root code, N8N, and also Open Router Chat, you can basically build whatever you want using Quasar Alpha. It must be a new release from ChatGPT, I would say, or OpenAI. But it's going to be interesting to see when it gets announced and what's coming next, all right? So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to my AI Profit Boardroom with all my best agents, automations, etc., workflows, feel free to get that. Link in the comments description. Price is going up this month, so make sure you sign up now before you miss out. And it comes with all my best SOPs, tips, templates, workflows, etc. And this gets updated pretty much daily, as you can see. On top of that, it also comes with weekly Q&As. Focus on making you more money and saving time with AI. So you can jump on the weekly live calls here, ask any questions you have. And inside the community, we have 694 members, right? So you can post in here, ask people for help. And then anytime you get stuck with AI, feel free to post directly here, all right? So thanks so much for watching. Feel free to get that inside the link in the comments description. And additionally, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 visits a month, generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales and autopilot, feel free to get that link in the comments description. Appreciate you watching. Bye-bye. Tomorrow, who wins, City or United? I'm gonna say, mate, I'm a United fan, but it's been a hard 10 years to be honest with you. So I think it's got to be City, innit? It's got to be City, but that's not what I want. That's just how it is. All right, cheers everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.